Recently did a poll on my community tab asking what's draining your wallet. And y'all, I was so surprised at the results. So in this video, I wanted to talk about how did we get here and what can we do about it. Let's get into it. So y'all, I did this poll on my community tab, and you'll actually have to go over to my community tab and take some of the polls because I'm really trying to create some really good polls. But this poll was very interesting because the question was, what's eating your wallet? And it was gas and bills, food delivery and eating out, credit card interest, and travel. And y'all, I was so surprised about this. So 47% of people said gas and bills. And 33% of people said dining out and food delivery. And so I'm just like, you know what? When we really think about this is really, especially like the gas and bills, you would really say this is our everyday expenses. It's not really luxury items because I would have thought maybe travel, because you already know we're going to do some travel, but that was only like 4%. Let me know in the comments which one of these are draining your wallet, or if it's something else, let me know. So first, let's look at gas and bills. Now, on the one hand, do we really have control over gas and bills? You know, like we got to have our four walls covered because we got to have a roof over our head. So that's going to be our rent and our mortgage. And then we got to have lights and water and things like that. You know, how can we make sure that we're, cost effective? And so I would say number one, and you'll have to let me know, are you doing this? Like, when was the last time you did an audit on those bills or any of your bills? Because I was talking to my neighbor the other day and she was asking me, well, how much is your internet and, cable and things like that? And I'm like, well, I don't have cable. I only have internet. And I'm like, well, I pay $122 for my internet. And she was like, girl, like, oh my goodness. And so we were just chatting about it. And I'm like, you know what? When I thought about it, it had really been a while since I called Comcast or Xfinity just to see, well, can I get a discount? What's going on? I'm going to be calling Comcast so that I can see, what kind of deals do they have for, the internet, even though I'm saying to do an audit over our bills. Really, do we have a budget? Because a budget is very important because we really have to understand our starting point, because how much money are we bringing in compared to going out, and then how much do we have left over? So that's why it's important to do the budget so that we can see where our starting point is. And so I think it's good to just do an audit overall to see how things are going. Now, the second thing was dining out and delivery. Now, y'all, I don't do delivery, but I can't eat out. I do like eating out, but I'm definitely getting better and I'm going to the store. Some of the things that I'm thinking about, like when I go to the store, I'll usually go on like the weekends, but sometimes I might forget things, and then during the week I'll go. But y'all, when I go during the week, especially if I go after the gym, y'all, I'm gonna be putting some extra stuff in that basket. So, I'm doing my best to try to make sure that I have a list and make sure that I get everything. I want to make sure that I'm staying on track. And then as far as eating out, in my mind, I don't know that it's anything wrong with eating out. I think everybody has to look at their budget for them and what is it that really works for them and what it doesn't. So, I ain't going to judge you, but don't judge me either. So 16% of people said that their credit card interest is eating up their wallet. And, when we think about how much our credit card debt is, it is increasing and increasing every single day. And so, I think it's very important because y'all already know I like to use my credit cards. And if you're on this channel, most of the time you're going to be liking to use your credit cards too. But we have to be really strategic in this area and very, having a plan. And so I like to use my credit cards for pretty much everything. It's only maybe like 2 or 3 things that I don't use my credit cards for. But since I do my budget, I'm making sure that I can pay off my credit cards at the end of the month or, periodically through the month. So I think that's why it's best to do our budget, especially now with credit card interest being like 26%, 30%, and especially like on those retail credit cards, even more. So I think it's important for us to take a look at that and make sure that we're paying the credit cards off, as much as we can. But what we can do is, when was the last time you called up your credit card company to see if you could get a lower interest rate? And I'll say for my Citi credit card, and I want to say for my American Express credit card, they've been sending me offers, or even when I go in my portal, they'll have offers to where, do I want to get a lower interest rate? And I'll be laughing at the same time, because I'm like, on the one hand, you ain't even got no interest out of me. And so I'm just like, how here it is, they're offering me this, but I always pay my credit cards off, every month anyway. And then here it is, they're offering me this. But it's good to maybe have it. So most of the time, I want to say it's about, 6.99 and maybe even 9.99% interest over 26%. And so I think that that's really good. Now, I want to say that I had did that on one of my credit cards, but I paid a credit card off every month anyway, so it really wasn't helping. But then also, let's say if you're going to be opening up a credit card, check out those credit cards that have 0% interest for, 15 and even up to 21 months. And then even consider, let's say if you already have credit card debt, what if you did a balance transfer? Now, the only thing is, if you do a balance transfer, you have to make sure to have a plan, because if you don't, and then let's say the 18 or the 21 months is up, and then you still got all that debt, then it's not going to be that good. So it's best to have a plan. But I think that it works, because I did that a few years back and it worked for me. And so, but I had did it with the Discover It. But you'll have to check out a few credit cards. And I have a few videos talking about 5 credit cards where you can do a balance transfer. So you'll definitely have to check that out. 4% of people said that travel is draining their pockets. Some people are saying, like, for my sanity, I got to do that travel. And that's the same for me. And I think when we think about our budget or how we're spending money, it's very important for us to take a look at our finances to see, okay, what's good for us or what's not good. Because, let's say one household, maybe going to the grocery store, that's for them and not eating out. But on the same hand, maybe for somebody else's household, eating out works for them. So really, it's not really a wrong or right way, in my opinion. It's just, where's our starting point? What's going? What are we paying out? And then what's left over? And so possibly what you can do is, let me know which of these tips are you going to use. But then once you actually create that plan, what are a few things that you could do that maybe you could save 25, 50, or maybe even $100 each month? So let's say for me, I'm going to be calling up Xfinity pretty soon to see how I can lower my internet bill, and really taking a look at everything, my insurance and stuff. And so, really it'll just take some time to sit at the computer and, sort everything out, but it'll be worth it in the end, because if we can get $100 or $200 to where we save, and then we can, one, maybe use it on travel, or two, maybe we can save it. And so I would definitely put it in a high yield savings account so that you can earn, a little bit extra on there. But let me know in the comments, what are you thinking about this? I hope that this video was helpful. Please like, subscribe, share with a friend, and turn your notification bell on so you'll be notified when new content drops. I thank you so much for watching. Until next time. Are you looking for a way to keep track of your monthly budget? Well, check out my 2025 digital budget planner. I posted it on my Etsy shop. You can go into the description and click on the link. In the budget, you have goal setting, you have a monthly budget, a debt repayment, you have a savings tracker. So check out the 2025 digital budget planner on my Etsy shop. It's not a game.